Good morning, my beautiful friends. This is your wake up call with Maui Paul. I am Maui Paul. We are here today to say some nice things about ourselves, and it always is a nice surprise to see who is tuning in live to the wake up call. So, good morning, Shauna. Good morning, Lauren. Good morning, Jan. Great to see you guys. Yesterday I was actually scrolling Facebook, and Facebook served me this. Scrolling Facebook isn't something that I do very often, but I was actually on my phone. I was just kind of like looking and seeing what my friends were up to, and Facebook showed me basically some analytics for my most recent wake up call, which was very interesting because it was like over the course of the previous 24 hours, it had been viewed about 74 times. And it's so cool to see, just like how outsized of an impact this call has. So whether you tune into this live or whether you're one of those 74 people that watches it after the call happens, I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of it and for just showing up to receive this message. You guys are awesome, and I'm always excited to just be a part of your world and to have you be a part of mine. So, anyways, that was just a little bit of encouraging news about the wake up call. So interesting that just so many more people watch it after the fact. But anyways, yeah. So what we're gonna do today is the same thing that we do every day. I'm going to ask you if you are the affirmation on the card. We are going to respond out loud together. I am that affirmation. And then after we do that, we're going to go over the reasons why it's true. Write it down in the comments and just affirm each other in the comments. Incidentally, while I was looking through the comments, I also saw that you guys were all heart reacting and love reacting each other's posts, and that is so cool. I really approve of that, and I think that's a wonderful way of just being engaged with it. So thank you so much for being a part of creating a space that is full of love on the internet. The internet is the internet is the absolute best and the absolute worst that humanity has to offer. So thank you for being a part of the absolute best that humanity has to offer. All right, guys. So I'm going to pull a card off the top of the deck. I'm going to ask you if you are the affirmation on the card, and we are going to respond out loud together. I am that affirmation. As we do, we are building into our own lives. We are changing up our own experience. And so let's do that right now by saying that today I am aligned. I am aligned. I move with purpose in my chosen direction. So I am aligned. I move with purpose in my chosen direction. Are you aligned? You are aligned. You move with purpose in your chosen direction. And I am going to write that down in the comments that I am aligned, that I move with purpose in my chosen direction. And I see Jan has already beaten me to it, as indeed oftentimes my viewers do. But I am aligned, and I do move with purpose in my chosen direction. And in the same way that an archer will bend the bow and loose the arrow, so too do we bend the bow of our efforts, and that we loose the arrow of our dreams. And once the arrow flies, the archer knows the general direction where it flies, but the archer cannot control the arrow once it's left the bow. And so it is also with our alignment. We just point everything in the correct direction. But ultimately, we have to let those dreams go. We have to submit ourselves to the larger forces of the world that we cannot control, that we don't have control of. And so, as just as the archer bends the bow and aims toward the target, the archer doesn't always hit exactly in the middle of the target. In fact, getting a bullseye on the target is a rare enough thing that it causes great excitement when when it actually happens. And so in the end, we move with purpose in our chosen directions, and at the same time we understand that the energy that we put into it, that energy is something that is that it's not something that we can have complete control over the outcome, but we can have complete control over what is downrange of us. And so we need to make sure that we are aligned in the downrange that we intend to be going. Good morning, Lane. It's nice to see you here. Nice to see you here during the wake up call. I see that you comment on it sometimes after it's already done. So wonderful to see you here live today. Welcome. Anyways, yeah. So we are aligned, and so one of the things that I've discovered in life is that as I as I decide what it is that is most important to me, the target that I'm aiming for actually gets smaller. And also, the place that the arrow goes, the even if I miss my target completely, at the very least I am much closer to the target than I was beforehand. And it's very interesting how Shauna was talking about. She read a book once using this analogy for parenthood. I could see that. I mean, my parents trained me up the way that they believed that I should go. And the important things, the most important parts of what my parents trained, is still inside of me. The direction that they felt that I should go is still inside of me. Even if I've ended up in a completely different place than they probably thought or expected I would. Nevertheless, the values that they imparted upon me, the things that they told me that are important, the ways of living that they trained me in, those ways of living I still hold to. And so we are aligned. And as we are aligned, as we recognize, what the most important things are in our lives, and we let fly the arrows of our dreams in those directions, we have to understand that not every arrow is going to hit its target. But at the very least, even if it doesn't hit its target, it is closer to the target than beforehand. And sometimes, we let fly the arrow and then our target moves. Sometimes we find out later that what we thought we wanted, we don't actually want. What we thought we needed, we didn't actually need. And I mean, if I really think about the dreams that I've had in life, so many of them are dreams that ultimately, if I would have achieved those dreams, I would not have lived as fulfilling of a life as I'm currently living. I'm happy that I let the dreams go. And so we have to understand that, when we shoot these arrows, when we launch these rockets of desire, as Esther Hicks puts it, as we launch these rockets of desire, that these things always find a target, but it's not always the target that we think they're going to find. So the best that we can do is just make sure that we're pointing in the right direction. Make sure that we are getting rid of the self-sabotage. Make sure that we're getting rid of the mental patterns that are pointing us in the opposite way of where we'd like to go. It was a pretty big personal growth moment for me when at the beginning of my own self-development journey, when I took an honest look at my life, an honest look at what was working and what wasn't working, and said to myself, I was like, wait a minute, I'm working at cross purposes. No wonder I'm not getting anywhere. And then I eliminated some of the things that I was doing that were at cross purposes to my end goals. And I was pretty ruthless about it. The things that I had thought about myself, ideas that I had about myself that were very old, these ideas that I had to give up in order to ultimately live a more fulfilling life. I had ideas about who I was and what my life should look like. I mean, in my early 20s, I had my life completely planned out all the way out until retirement. And let me tell you, I looked at that plan. I'm like, this plan is awful. But at the same time, I knew it would work. That plan involved me working the same career until I was 65 and putting away about 80% of my income until I was about 65. And then eventually, when I was about 65, being able to finally do all the stuff that I had wanted to do in my early 20s. And one day I said, this is madness. Why am I holding off on the things that are most important to me because I have this plan that I'm pretty sure will work? In retrospect, that plan never would have worked because that plan was predicated on the world never changing. We have to be dynamic with the world. We have to change with the world. We have to be flexible. We have to understand that our alignments are going to shift and move. And so long as we do not stray from the principles that are most important to us, then the way that we're aligned is ultimately going to continually get us closer and closer and closer to actualization, to that amazing self-actualization thing that is at the very top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so we are aligned today. And today is my, is my question to myself. Today is my ability to ask myself the question, is what I'm doing today ultimately aligned with my end goals? And if it is, then do more of it. And if it's not, then ask myself, why am I doing it? And if I have a good reason for doing it, maybe I also need to reconsider the goals themselves. Maybe I need to reconsider the targets themselves. Perhaps I need to reconsider my chosen direction. My parents, as they raised me, gave me an engine for my dreams. The values that I have and the ways of life that I've been taught how to live These things function as an energy, as an engine, as a motor to get us to, or to get me in the direction that the values that I have are the bow, and the stronger those values are, the stronger the bow is, the strong and the further the arrow will fly. When I am in alignment with my chosen direction, when I'm in alignment with my highest purposes, my highest ideals, those arrows fly the straightest and the truest, and they land the closest if they don't hit the target. And when they don't hit the target, and oftentimes they don't, I'm not going to pretend that I just achieve all my dreams. I've given up on way more of them than I've ever achieved. But when they don't hit the target, I am closer to the target, and I go to the place where the arrow landed, and I pick up the arrow and I fire it again. And ultimately, I do this all through my life, consistently seeking and finding the purpose and the direction that are most congruent to me, based on the experiences that I have in life, and also my observation as to what's going on in the larger world around me. It's easy for us to get caught up in the idea that the world is going to shit and that there's nothing that we can do to control it. And so why bother? Well, I say if the world is going to shit and there's nothing to do that we can do to control it, then we should bother with our own business. We must mind our own business. We must make our tiny little part of the world better. Because as we make our tiny little part of the world better, then the world goes less to shit. And in fact, we have the ability, and we have the profound ability, bigger than we even imagine, to completely change the way that humanity self-organizes as a species, simply by being in alignment and being in our purpose, and by living our lives fully and completely. So I am aligned today. You are aligned too. And never doubt the tremendous power that you have through making small changes in yourself, and making sure that you are continually clarifying that things are important to you, because you do. You have immense power to completely remake this world in your image, and it is a lie that the world tells you that you can't. The world tells us that big things are happening and we can't control them, and yet we can control them. We can have a tremendous amount of control over our little world, and in the end, our little world is the one that we live in the most. So I am aligned today. You are aligned too, and we move with purpose in our chosen direction. I will talk to you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. We'll be back for another one of these. Pulling these cards every morning is something that puts me in alignment with my chosen direction. I've always felt like my job in this life was to make sure that I was encouraging the other people around me to live the best life that they could possibly live. And also, in the end, I'm also reminded that I, too, am responsible to live the best life that I can possibly live. To the best of my knowledge, we've only got one go around in this reality, so let's make it an amazing one. All right, so I will talk to you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. We will have another one of these cards, and we'll have some more of these affirmations. Until then, this is your daily reminder that I love you and that I care about you, that I think you're an amazing person, that I believe that your dreams are worthy of pursuit, and that you have the ability today to be aligned in your chosen direction. I will talk to you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. Until then, aloha from paradise.